Hey everybody, I'm super excited. I always say that, but I am. I am very excited for our 5 conversations. And this is our second week. Oh, let me look at the chat. Hi, Emily. Hey everybody, I'm so excited you're here. Okay, so we're going to get into our second conversation, and tonight's topic is all about teaching and enrolling. Last week we covered sampling and inviting, and this seems like the very best next step, right? Moving them down the pipes, moving them through what would be considered their next best step, what's going to help them get to where they want to be in their health and where we feel like we can support them. So this is the Empowered Success Natural Solutions Guide, and this is the handout that we use in classes and one-on-ones, and when we get together with little groups of people or at a booth even. It's a great teaching tool. So that's something to invest in. You can buy them in bulk. They sell them in groups of 10 on doterra.com, and I believe it's like $2.50 for 10 of them. So it's a pretty good deal. I know some people like to make their own, but I don't want to reinvent the wheel. If doTERRA has created this system and it's really effective, it just seems like the best thing to use. I better keep that chat up because it's beeping like crazy. Oh, Crystal says she got her class in a box. Loren says she's sorry. Oh, Jessica used it today. That's awesome. I'm so excited to hear that. That's fantastic. Okay, so let's get into it. This is going to look familiar to you, and I'm probably going to repeat this every week because I do think it's so important. When we talked last week about sampling and inviting, I gave you 2 tips for being, our best and showing up our best, and that was living in our diamond energy and making sure that we really focus on finding their pain points. I think it goes for all aspects of our business, is living in a space where we believe we can do it, having that mindset. If you guys have been listening to the Mindset Makeover from Tiffany Peterson the last 2 weeks, this week was all about mindset. It was so good, just about manifesting and living in a space where we feel like we are, like, what's the thing she always says? She says, your mind makes it to the dream before reality does. And so we have to live within that space. Way to go, Crystal. Yay. Okay, I'm so glad you guys are chatting. That's awesome. And also, too, if you have questions pop up, you can put them in the chat. But now that we have our diamond energy on, we are excited because the first thing we're going to talk about is a one-on-one. And I want you to think, too, about how you can incorporate what we're talking about in this conversation you would have with someone in a one-on-one in a class setting, too. So thinking about it on a grander scale. You wish you'd signed up. I've been so busy. Oh, signed up for Mindset Makeover. I don't think it's too late. You can totally try. And if not, I could probably send you the recordings because it's downloadable, I think. Okay. So Shayla is in it to win it tonight. Unmute yourself, Shayla.
Hello.
Okay. Hello. Okay. So here's what's awesome is we're going to kind of model for you what a brief one-on-one would look like and some of the conversations that you may have or that may come up. But the first thing that I want to make super clear about being together for a one-on-one is just being a good listener and a good friend, right? Finding something in common with them, or if you already know, if they're already your friend and you quilt or you go to the same Pilates studio or whatever, you're probably going to have some chit chat about that before you get into the nitty gritty of doTERRA and all of that. So finding a common ground and listening to them. People love to talk about themselves. So allow them to vent or get stuff off their chest, or allow them to share, what's good and right in their life, and ask lots of questions. I feel like that has been the most successful tool that I have found in any one-on-one or even at a booth or a class. Whenever I have time and I'm just with one person, asking questions about them is the best way to open them up to possibilities. And oftentimes when they're answering your questions, they're going to identify things, just because they know what you do, they're going to identify things that are already kind of problematic in their life. And so that's sort of opening the gate and allowing them to feel like they're in a safe space, right? To be open to share, and then also be open to receive the guidance from you that you're going to share with them. So that's step one. And remember, you can jot any of this down, but I can also post the recording. Okay. Transition phase number one. All right. So before we get to this, Shayla.
Yes.
Let's give a scenario here. You and I, we know each other from playgroup. Okay. So you're Shayla in your normal life. And we already got the chit chatting away. Okay. So we've caught up. And now I am going to start with our first transition and say that I'm so excited to be able to help you today. Are you excited?
Yeah. I always need help.
You always need help. Well, can you kind of tell me a little bit about what you want from our talk today? Like, what are some things that you want to make sure we go over?
So I'm really concerned about the dermatitis that I have. I would love to find some way to actually treat that.
Okay.
And then I homeschool my kids, and I know that if they were in school, some of them would be diagnosed with learning, I don't know, what do you want to call them? Learning specialties.
Mm-hmm.
I have one who like really wants to learn but really struggles to focus, and I feel like if I find the right oil for him, it could help.
Okay, great. So if I hear you correctly, what you're saying is that you need probably some essential oils to help with focus and some other remedies that can maybe help with your dermatitis.
Right.
Yeah. Can you maybe think of anything else that you're facing in your home, whether it's issues with sleep or maybe your husband gets headaches or backaches or anything in those categories?
No, we're generally pretty healthy, although oddly enough, in the last 3 months, our family has had the stomach flu 3 times.
Oh my goodness.
I don't think we've ever had the stomach flu this many times, and I feel like we're trying to be healthier than we ever have. But for a family with 6 kids, stomach flu is like doomsday. It's bad news. It's like, oh no,
bad news.
Who's gonna throw up tomorrow night?
Yes, and that feeling you get when you're just like,
yes.
Oh,
I go to bed and I like lay towels on the floor in case someone's thrown up in the middle of the night.
And there's like bowls everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't know if you have suggestions. I actually called their pediatrician yesterday because I normally don't, but I was like, am I missing something? This is like a lot. He was like, yeah, no, you're not missing anything. Just keep doing what you're doing and support them through it. But anyway.
Yeah. Did he say that it's going around or anything like that?
So, I mean, there's definitely a virus going around, but he felt like it was a bit excessive he said, normally once you get it, you're pretty safe for the virus that's going around.
Yeah.
There aren't like 3 different strands of whatever going around as far as he's aware of.
Right.
Kids are homeschooled. They're not even, which may be part of why it's happening, because they just are getting older, and so they're doing more out of the house, maybe exposed to more than they didn't get it all when they were younger. I don't know.
Interesting. Like sports or church activities and things like that.
Right. Church activities, music events.
Music, yeah.
Just different things. So I have no idea.
Interesting. Yeah. And so they're all of a sudden in a place where there's a bunch of kids, a bunch of people, and they haven't been exposed to that before. And
we've always gone to church, so
yeah.
I'm not sure what has happened, but man, if you have suggestions, I'll take them.
I do. I definitely do. Yeah. And oh, bless you, whoever that was.
Oh, sorry. I thought I was muted. I'm driving.
No, that was such a cute sneeze, Monique. Well, I want to talk to you about some things today, Shayla, but I also want you to know that you don't have to buy anything. I'm really just sort of presenting this to you, and I just want you to know that if you wanted to get anything, that you can definitely get it from me, okay? So just to kind of lay that out there, that there's no obligation to our conversation. It's more just like, hey, this is what Natural Solutions can do, and my intention is for you to just learn. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Become a little bit more aware. I don't ever want to fear monger, but just help people become more aware of the choices they're making and also things that can maybe make their life easier. So after hearing all of your concerns, I want to share a little bit about doTERRA. Can you first tell me, do you have any experience with doTERRA, or do you know anything about the company?
So I actually used doTERRA essential oils back in 2010.
Okay.
And then I tried a bunch of different essential oils and I decided they might not work.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Okay, I'm turning my page here. Well, doTERRA is actually one of the largest essential oil distributors in the world. And Johns Hopkins Medical University is obviously world renowned. And in their research facilities, they only use doTERRA essential oils because of their quality and their efficacy. So if that kind of gives you an inkling or an idea as to how, how respected they are in the essential oil community and how influential they have been. And so as a company, they really stand for quality. That's their number one concern, is making sure that we can use them from birth to death and that we have just that reassurance that what we're putting on our kids is safe, right? Okay,
Yeah.
pause, moving to transition phase number 2. Okay. So now, and I'm just gonna like pause our conversation and kind of, actually I'll go back so you can still see the slide. So everybody understands where we're at in this. When you're talking specifically about their goals and their health goals, you want to try and pull from them more. So she gave like 2 brief little things, and then the question to ask is, I'm so glad that we've been able to go over these things, or that you were able to share these things, but do you have anything else? Like kind of trying to build more of a platform or more of a file in your head of like things that they have said. So you can write these things down. You can be really intentional about making sure you're listening to everything they're saying, so that when you go back in and you start to share, that you know exactly what pain points to touch on. Okay. So then with the doTERRA company, you just want to make sure with that one that you hone in on something very brief. So you're not going to go deep into certified pure therapeutic grade. You're not going to go like way deep into, where things are sourced from yet. Okay. So that was just a brief little, this is what doTERRA is. This is where our company is world renowned and amazing. Okay. Transition number 2. Are you still there, Shayla, or do you need to take a break? I can choose someone else on the call. Okay. I think you're there. Yes, you are.
I'm here.
You're
Sorry,
in the dark. No, you're fine. Okay, so now jumping back into our conversation. So natural transition would be, instead of identifying and saying like women and men or business owners, you're going to always focus on the person and what they are. So in this case, I'm going to say moms. So moms like you turn to me often for things like what you're sharing. So typically their current approach to their health is not achieving the goal or the desired result, right? So you've asked your doctor, you have no solution. Maybe your kids have been on antibiotics and they have had, sickness after sickness, and you're curious, like, why do they keep getting sick? Or a lot of moms come to me too, just because they're tired of using synthetic like toxins in their home, and they're wondering if that's playing a role in how their kids are feeling as well. So identifying the issue, sorry, I keep like bouncing back and forth, but identifying the issue and saying that you're not alone is really comforting to the person. So basing our response on what their specific issues are. So addressing that she's a mom and that moms come to us often for these types of things. And then what it is next is you start to say something specific to them. So when you offer a solution, it could be something really basic like doTERRA, there is a full line of essential oils that can really help with your specific concerns when it comes to digestive health or like we were talking about focus and your skin. However, there are also some really incredible supplements that have helped my family tremendously when it comes to digestive health and our skin. So our skin's the biggest organ, right? And so when you take things internally in your body, it's actually helping your skin as well. And so just kind of like touching on those things really basic can leave food for thought, and you're not just like vomiting all of doTERRA on them. You're giving them little tiny tidbits of things that can up-level their health without having to give them like the whole shebang, okay? Then we jump into differentiations. And this is where we really try to hone in on why doTERRA is different than any other company and why it's a different mode of care. And so Lizzie is going to share her And can everybody hear? Yes. Okay. Perfect. Oh, there you go.
So what I like to talk about people when we're talking about what makes doTERRA different is really the sourcing and why it matters. So we live in an age where we care so much about where our food comes from, and we're caring more and more about where our clothing comes from and who's making it. And we care about the quality of these things because we are starting to recognize that we are responsible for more than just the purchase. That our buying these things has to do with the whole chain of production. And something that's so important to me about doTERRA and why I work with them is because they are concerned about that entire chain of production. So many of our oils come from these underdeveloped countries because that's where that's where the plant matter grows so beautifully and in its indigenous conditions, and so we are not just taking from them. They've created systems and programs, one of which is co-impact sourcing, to make sure that it's an equal exchange, that what we get is just as valuable as what they get. So, and the thing that I love so much and what truly matters to me is that for the most part, the people who are benefiting from our using these essential oils are women all over the world who are able to clothe and feed and educate their children. So just like it matters where our food comes from and the quality of it, because it affects our health and how the cotton is grown and treated, and the factory workers who make our clothing, like how all of that matters. These oils will become, and for me have become, such an integral part of my life and of my family's life and of our health, that it matters just as much where they come from. And that's something that you can know and trust from doTERRA, and you legitimately cannot from other companies.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So Shayla, oh my gosh. This is the point where I would then get out the Natural Solutions handout. Okay, so we've kind of gone through your specific pain points. We've looked at, what doTERRA has to offer. We've shown you why it's different and why it matters, why quality matters, right? So that whole front page right here is basically already done. Like, you wouldn't need to cover every single aspect of this. They may have a question about the 3 ways to use essential oils, but you don't need to cover that now, okay? Because we're really going to look at this Natural Solutions handout Live Empowered page, okay? So if you guys are familiar, oh wait, chat, let's look at the chat. I was just going to ask you, thanks, sorry for my peeled off by a tiny human that looks like me. Boom, oils to feel good about. Yes, beautiful Lizzie, yes, she's just all the things. I mean, when she talks, I just want to buy everything. I want to buy Lizzie. Can I do that? I just want to clone you for those 5 minutes of my presentation. Yes, I know. That's why I asked her to speak tonight on the call, because I've heard her say that, and it's so powerful. If it's not good for everyone, it's not good for me. Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. So the Live Empowered page of the Natural Solutions handout has been revolutionary in the last month and a half of my business. Okay. So I don't even teach my essential oil classes in a group setting the way I used to. So a one-on-one, I'm surely not going to revert back to my old ways. So I'm going to show you kind of how I talk about this page. Okay. So I would have it in front of them. So I'm just going to have it here so you can see it. And I would say to them, so typically, you know, when you go into my medicine cabinet, this is similar representation of what it would look like. And on the top shelf here are things that I would use on a rainy day, Shayla. So things specifically for your skin, right? For your, is it your daughter? Son?
Me.
I should have written it
For
down.
my skin.
But focus. Yeah. Is it daughter that's focus or son? Daughter.
I have one of each, actually.
Okay. So for your children,
Mm-hmm.
we have these ones right here for focus. And then there's also this other one here, Digescent, for like the nausea and stuff that can help. So this is what you go to on a rainy day, right? You're not using every single one of these every single day. This is just you go there when you need it. And almost like, you know, as things come up, I'm going to go to my essential oils and grab a solution for that issue that we're facing in that moment. Okay. And then the middle section here, these are things to help bring down the toxic load within your home that may be putting pressure on the body and leading to some of these other symptoms that your family's having. So simply exchanging out like your antibacterial soaps and toothpaste and, you know, your coconut oil, things like that, that can really make a huge difference over time. Because when you put, you know, lotions on your skin, those types of things really go through the bloodstream, become a part of you as they metabolize through your liver. And that toxic load can provide a whole lot of pressure on the body that you could very easily eliminate from your everyday use, right? These toxic chemicals, whether it's you're not washing your fruits and veggies for as long as you need to, or your maybe you've got plugins or candles or anything like that that can be contributing to the health of the family. Okay. And then this bottom shelf here, this is everything we use on a daily basis. Okay. So the daily basis shelf looks just like this one. So we have this little lifelong vitality pack here. And then I go into like a 3-minute explanation of what that is and how that can help the body. And then based on you, Shayla, I would talk to you more about the probiotic, specifically for the dermatitis. And then we also have a children's one that could really help your kids with their digestive health as well. And then this Terrazyme is like a secret weapon for nausea. So you can even break it open and put it in your kids' food or applesauce or whatever they're consuming right now. And that Terrazyme helps so much with nausea. Okay. So, and then, you know, there's a couple other essential oils here that we use on a daily basis. Things like frankincense, On Guard, lemon, balance. Those four are something that we use daily to help maintain whether it's our mental health or our, you know, being able to cleanse the body naturally and things like that. On Guard, you know, giving the little tidbits of information about these essential oils as they come up on this medicine cabinet have really been the meat and potatoes of my class. Then when I get to the essential oil part, I actually don't spend more than 5 minutes talking about these, even in a class setting. So group or one-on-one. I take this section right here and I just pass them all around the room. So I do like 3 at a time. I'm like, oh, here's lemon, lavender, peppermint. And they're smelling it and it's going around. And I'm like, you guys know what lavender does. It's super calming. And lemons does this. And, you know, peppermint. Okay, let's experience the peppermint. And this takes like 5 minutes or less just to pass these oils around. So I'll do the top 10 plus like Serenity. Okay. And balance, because that's important. And once that's done, once I have sat with them in the one-on-one and I've described the medicine cabinet, I'm only going to go through the oils that I feel will benefit them, right? So in a one-on-one setting, it's a little bit different than a big group, but it's basically just tailoring it specifically towards what their needs are. In a class setting, you're going to say, you're going to kind of go a little bit more broad, but you are going to still be able to pull pain points from people because they're going to open up, right? People always open up in a class setting. They want to know, like, I have this, or, I mean, you've taught a class before, so you know, people are always shouting out to you like, oh my gosh, I need help with this. Or do you have anything for this? Like there's always something or someone who's going to like lighten the mood, break the ice, and everyone just starts pouring out their pain points to you. So it's great. It's these great nuggets of information that you can then take from and lead the class discussion from there. So depending upon if it's a one-on-one or a group setting, then you would move to the next best step, which is closing with confidence. Okay, so let's kind of look at what doTERRA has provided. So this is the perfect little layout here for them to see and to visualize what they can actually be bringing home. Because a lot of times when you show up to a one-on-one and you don't have something like this in front of you, it's kind of hard for them to grasp the idea that they need a kit if they don't see how it's even like set up properly. You know what I mean? How it would even benefit them. So, and you all probably, not everybody in this group is doing the summer intensive, but many of you are, so you've heard my close, but I will still do it again, especially because we're chatting right now, Shayla. So in a one-on-one, right, you have to individualize it a little bit more, but you would say, now, you know, you've heard all these great things that can help you, and we've talked about specific products that will provide some relief to your life and make things easier, especially now with this stomach flu that just keeps going around and around and around. And so what I would suggest for you is getting a membership so that you can get 25% off for the entire year. That way with the dermatitis, you have that. And let's say this month, you know, you go through that frankincense or you go through that melaleuca, and next month you need a refill, you don't want to have to pay retail. So membership is 25% off for the whole entire year. And then it also gets you two other things, which are really cool. So you're going to get another consultation with me where we can sit down when your order actually arrives, and we'll dust it off, make sure we open up all the bottles, we open up the supplements. We can even put them in their little pill organizer, because I always get a pill organizer for people that enroll with me and get started with me. And we can set that all up so that it's not intimidating for you. And we can also just come up with a plan, like create a plan, a health plan together to decide like, okay, we're going to adjust, you know, taking the supplements for this amount of time, and kind of make sure you're tailoring it specifically to that person. So I do that with the Terrazyme too. Like when people get the Terrazyme or the probiotic, I'll say, okay, let's do one before each meal, but let's check in a couple weeks and we can decide if we need to bump it up to 2. Just base it on that person's needs. Okay. So that $35 membership is going to get that, so we can converse and discuss exactly how to line up the next 3 months for you and really help relieve some of these symptoms and issues that your family's facing, especially with your kids and their focus. Like that's no fun. And I know that you're homeschooling, but even so, I feel like that would be more frustrating to be, you know, they're losing focus and you're their teacher, and they're going to be less likely to listen to their mom than they are to someone else. So it's even harder to kind of like wrangle them in as a homeschool kid and parent relationship. I know, because I was a high school teacher, you know, and their parents would come in and they act so different when their parents are around than it was just when it was just me and the child. And then the last thing you get with the $35 membership is I'll invite you into our private Facebook group. And in that private Facebook group, we have just loads of information and support from other moms just like you who are looking for solutions and ways to kind of help, like especially in the moment. If you don't want to text me or you don't want to call me and you're concerned, like, wait, how do I use this frankincense again? Or, you know, this particular thing came up and my kids are throwing up. What do I do? I can't remember what Lena said. You can jump on Facebook and you'll have that support there. But there's also something really cool that doTERRA did, which is instead of paying the $35, you can purchase one of their pre-designed kits. And one of these starter kits is going to waive the $35 membership fee, which is really cool, because then you don't have to pay that and you'll actually get product in exchange for your money versus just buying something or a membership and then having to pick and choose what you want on top of that. So there are 3 kits that I want to kind of point out to you first. This one right here is the Natural Solutions Kit. So this one kind of goes over everything that was in this guide today, but not everything in here necessarily pertains to you right now. So I would hold off from that kit and focus more on the things that are going to be targeted toward what you need. So if I were you, I'd start with this one. This is my personal favorite. It's called the Home Essentials Kit. And then we're going to set up, since it's, where are we at? The beginning of May. We can get you the probiotics added to this, okay? And then we'll set up your order for the next month with the other supplements that you wanted to get, so that you can kind of lay out this wish list and not feel like you have to get everything at one time. And if that's not within your your budget right now, you could also get the Family Essentials kit and do that very same thing. Just add on the probiotics, and then we'll set you up for the next month with the things that are going to really benefit you in the long run. Okay. So I want to make sure you leave here happy today. So if you have any questions, this is the perfect time to ask them.
I don't think I have any questions. I just need to, I think, like, if I want to use the oils, then I need something else for them, right? Do I need to get the oil for them?
That's a really good question. So when you fill out this little agreement form, this application, and you're going to tear it out, and you get to keep the handout, I'm going to give you 3 of these empty roller balls. So you can take them home and you can keep them. And if you need more, I do have a link on my website that connects you to Amazon to get the very best ones that I have used and that I love. So that's an option for you too.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome.
I want it all.
Awesome.
Do you really tell people not to get a Natural Solutions kit then, Lena? Like,
So
how
if
often
it would be like a specific case by case, right? So in your specific scenario, I didn't think that was the best option for you. I think it's really important that people feel that it's tailored to them.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to sell a mom, like, struggling with this, or that, this Natural Solutions kit when she's not going to really need all of that all at once. And it would be super overwhelming, in my opinion.
Yeah.
For that person who's
totally
just
agree.
starting out, and you're homeschooling all these kids, you're just trying to figure stuff out. So taking like 1 or 2 things per day to add in that's new is going to be a lot easier than like trying to do all these things at one time, or taking it 1 month at a time or 1 week at a time versus like, here's this entire thing. Now there are some cases where in one-on-ones I felt very, very comfortable selling them a Natural Solutions kit based on their needs. Right? So they're like, I want a diffuser, but I want all the supplements, but I also want that Correctix, and I have to have the shampoo. Like, it's like, okay, well, that's obvious,
Right.
I had a veterinarian that recently, it's like a month or so ago, she was going to do the Home Essentials kit and then add on all this stuff. And I was like, well, you could actually get like 15 other products for just like, I think it was like $100 more than what she was going to buy, And so it just made total sense. She's like, oh, okay, I can use those. And so in fact, when I did that, I kind of felt a little reluctant because I was like, oh no, she'll never need to set up an LRP because she's got everything there. And sure enough, at our wellness consult, she not only set up an LRP, she's at like the 150 for the last however long, month, 2 months, She's using the supplements. She loves all the products.
Right.
So she just wants to keep using them. So it's just a case-by-case thing.
Sure.
That's
totally
a good question. Yeah.
I've found lately I'm kind of like the Aroma Touch kit has been easy for me to sell lately. I don't know why.
Yeah. No, I feel you.
It comes with everything you need.
Yeah.
Like when I go through it, it meets all their needs. I'm like, this is the one. Anyway.
Yeah. And then they can always save up to get the frankincense, right?
Right.
So if people don't know, the Aroma Touch Diffuse Kit is the petal diffuser, the coconut oil, and then 8 of the oils. But it does have the Aroma Touch in there, and Balance and Wild Orange. So it's a good kit. But a lot of people that do hear the benefits of frankincense, they're like, no, I don't want to get that one. Let me just grab the Family Essentials and I'll add on a coconut oil. And then most people either have a diffuser at home or they consider getting one on Amazon. So that's something to consider too, Shayla, if people really want that frankincense.
Yeah.
And then I sell them hard on those beadlets because they're so good,
Yeah. It's hard. They're like, they're all good options.
They're all good. I know they're all good. It's hard because this Family Solutions handout doesn't have the Aroma Touch kit in it.
No, it
so I
doesn't.
hardly sell any of those now because I've been using this like religiously. So, yeah.
I think I must have had old handouts.
I know those old ones were so good. Trust me, I loved them. Emily will tell you. But I finally gave this one a try, and I really, really loved the setup of the guide, especially that medicine cabinet. I feel like it's so applicable. It's right there. People see it, and it just makes sense that they can start switching out some of their, toxic ingredients that they already are using daily especially because I expound on that a little bit more too. And I'll say like, you know, some of these ingredients that we're using in our soaps, you know, they do contribute to how we're feeling. And one in particular, like I get on a little tangent about the Texitrin that's in antibacterial hand sanitizers and stuff like that. And it scares people. I mean, I don't want to scare them. I just want them to be aware.
No, knowledge is power.
Yeah, knowledge is power. When you know better, you do better. So I hope that was helpful. Does anyone else have any questions? You can take yourself off mute. Let's see. I'll stop sharing. So from start to finish, we started at like 12 minutes in and we ended at 9:40. So it's supposed, a one-on-one is supposed to be like a 30-minute block of time. And so I think we got it in there, even though, what does the chat say? Someone popped up. Even though like we got off on little tangents and stuff too, you know? Yes. I still have like 13 minutes dedicated to you guys on this call. So if anybody wants to ask questions, you just took 2 hours for a one-on-one. Oh my gosh, Monique, you're so funny. I love it. I know sometimes they take time, especially if there's a lot of distractions, right? So if you're at their house and their husband's coming home or their, you know, people are coming over. Jessica, unmute yourself. You can ask any question you want. She says she has so many questions.
Hey, girl.
Hey, girl.
Okay, I'm sitting outside on the porch right now because it is like amazing outside. So that's why you don't see me.
That's okay.
You wouldn't be able to see me anyway. So, okay. Here, I want to talk about turning your user into a builder. Okay, that is the close right now that I want to focus on. So I want to know, Lena, can you give me a script? Can you give me like a best practice for a conversation you would have with someone that is already aware of what essential oils do,